Just got to wait for all the social media to kick in. It's almost like you need an intro tune for yourself. What would it be? What's the intro tune to Everton these days?
It's Z Cars, isn't it? Z Cars for Everton.
Is it?
Yeah.
Don't hum that for. Do not hum that for us. I tell you what, Tim. Could you get Charlotte just to go around? We want to show off your stand whilst we talk to you, but don't go too far away from her so we don't lose you. So can you ask Charlotte to go around your stand?
Ask Charlotte to go around the stand. Can you go around the stand?
Go on, Charlotte. Show off the stand. So Tim, tell us a little bit about Nationwide Produce for those that don't know. Who is Nationwide Produce and why are you at Fruit Logistica?
So, who is Nationwide Produce? Well, we've been founded since 1975. My father founded the business. Excuse me. What do? We do everything in produce. So, we say we grow it, we grade it, we trade it, we pack it, we import, we export. Everything in fresh produce, basically. And now, just this year, we're moving on to frozen as well.
Are you? Okay,
Yeah.
That's a big adventure. So Tim, you've always been the bellwether of the fresh produce sector. When we've done these interviews, pre-Brexit and pre-2 general elections, and I think pre-COVID, you've always been the most watched video that we've done of these interviews because you've always been seen as this, I suppose, the spokesman for the sector. So what's your view today? What's the view of the fresh produce sector in the UK and internationally from your eyes, from the eyes of Nationwide Produce, please?
I think it's been a difficult couple of years. We've had 2 really difficult growing seasons, and I'm going to sound like I'm banging the same old drum, but it's made it more difficult for growers. And the risk to reward factor for growers now, particularly for UK, and particularly if you're supplying on contract to retail, it's just off the scale. I mean, they're basically wanting you to work on a very tight margin, 2-3%, the ridiculously low margins that we're working in this industry. And then if you get a weather problem, and we've had massive weather problems these last 2 years, that wipes out your crop, or like potatoes, you end up leaving your crop in the ground to rot. It just means heavy losses, massive heavy losses, and therefore growers just reassessing whether they continue to supply retailers or whoever, or supplying contracts in this job, and a lot of them just pulling out. We are pushing more and more production abroad. In the UK. I mean, the UK as a whole import 40% of our food. For fresh produce, that rises to near a 70%, 70. At last count I saw was 67, but it's definitely heading towards the 70. So, food security is ridiculous. We're pushing production abroad. There you go. Okay. That's me banging the same old drum again.
But is this not evolution? Not revolution, and that's why businesses like yours that are very switched on have. You've got businesses and units in Holland, in Spain, and you've adapted. Is that something that we've got to learn from you and your colleagues, that we've just got to adapt in this new world?
Businesses like us aren't suffering too much, but I just think from the growing side, I think it's just a great shame the amount of produce that we import as a nation and what we're doing to our growers in terms of pushing them down on this really tight margin contracts. And then if we get some kind of natural disaster, which we seem to be having every year now, it used to be one every. My dad, the Lancashire farmer, used to say 1 year in 7 you'll get some kind of flood or drought. It's every year, or even like several times a year now. I mean, look at the storms. I mean, they made such a mess of the land. And if you had late crop like potatoes, we've got about 10 or 15% of our potatoes out. We've got the lowest potato crop ever, about 4.1 million tonne this year. In the 90s, we were growing over 7 million tonne. Over 7 million tonne of spuds. It's great. It's just a crying shame that we're pushing production abroad.
Yeah, and I suppose that's also been exacerbated by other factors. Like we're picking up that there's going to be very little potato seed for 2024, 2025. Contracts are very tight. But then coming back to Nationwide Produce, where you seem to have been unique in the fresh produce sector, is that you're not predominantly dealing with retailers. That you and I both know a large number of fresh produce companies that the mecca is dealing with a big retail account. Well, whilst your model's always been wholesale food service.
Yeah, the mecca used to be dealing with the big retail accounts. I won't say it is anymore. So food service is probably our biggest sector, but we're just very diverse. I mean, last year we supplied about 1,100 customers from 800 suppliers with 250 different types of produce. No one customer is more than 6% of turnover. Now, a lot of people will say that's an envious good position to be in. it creates its issues with credit control, bad debt risk, etc. You've got to manage it very carefully. It's all very well having 1,100 customers, but that's 1,100 people that are paying you or you want paying. But yeah, we manage it quite well. And you said it there. That it used to be the mecca having a big retail account. I wouldn't say it is anymore.
Yeah. Okay. And FRUIT Logistica, what's the purpose of you being there? Is this to just see your existing customer base or existing growers, or are you looking for new customers as well?
It's mainly about suppliers here. I mean, we see our customers, obviously, they come on the stand, but it's good to meet your suppliers, and particularly from around the world. So I was speaking to David, our onion guy, before, and I said, how did he get on yesterday? And he said, well, I saw 4 of our Egyptian suppliers. I saw 2 Chilean, 1 New Zealand, and 1 Western Australian in an afternoon. Now, that takes some doing on a plane, doesn't it? You know, and he said I had some good FaceTime with each and every one of them. And it does cost quite a lot of money to do this. But on the other hand, you know, just by that one example alone, then, you know, if you're having FaceTime with your suppliers on this stand, then that's obviously going to save you time and money as well.
Yeah, and Tim, I'm very impressed about the frozen side. Again, it just shows how you as a business are looking to differentiate yourself. Is there anything else that you can tell us about Nationwide Produce that we can be excited about, look forward to in the future, about how you're developing?
I think these frozen ones really. He isn't here. This guy, he's Bartlett's chef. He's the Bartlett chef. Yeah. He's freezing up. He's doing samples on the stand, so sweet potatoes, chips, frozen mash. I think that frozen one is the big one, Max, because we serve the food service sector, and increasingly what we're seeing is the kitchen being de-skilled, and they've got to de-skill. They can't find the staff. So the days of somebody standing in a corner peeling a spud and chipping up a spud, they're just gone. Yeah. Even the Michelin star chefs are using frozen products, pretty much because they have to. So we had to jump onto that bandwagon, and we jumped on it with the best partner there is, Albert Bartlett.
Well done, because that's another thing that you've been very good at is collaboration. There aren't too many fresh produce businesses that would actually hop into bed with a perceived competitor, but actually you're going to be strong as a business. Nationwide and Albert Bartlett. Yeah,
it works well because they're real retail specialists. There's no stronger brand in this industry than Bartlett. Nobody in this industry has ever put an advert, even the likes of Dole or whatever, has ever done an advert in the middle of Coronation Street. It's a really strong, well-recognised brand. And when I went to see Ronnie a couple of years ago, he says, you know what, we're good at retail, but we're not so good at non-retail. And I've tried various people, it hasn't worked, and we're just going to do it all with you. So we've got it's just drawn along very simple lines. They do the retail, we do the non-retail, and it works, and it's working well.
Yeah. So come on, Tim, let's wrap up because you're going to be very, very busy on this next day of FRUIT Logistica. What's exciting you about the future? Exciting you about the future of fresh produce and for Nationwide Produce and your colleagues? What excites you about the future, please?
Oh, excites me about the future. I'll tell you what's exciting me at the moment, just to be a bit topical. I'm finding myself admiring the French farmers. You know, I'm following that really closely on the news, and I think, wouldn't it be great if it was British farmers did something like that? But I just can't see John Shropshire stood on the tractor with a Union Jack, ploughing down into Parliament Square. It's just a picture that doesn't spring to mind, is it? But the French, in some ways, you know, you've got to admire them because they're getting some real concessions off the French government there. Yeah, they really are.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. We can learn from you, Tim, and we can learn from the French. Would that be correct?
Oh, God help us. Did I say that? I did, didn't I?
You did.
I was praising the French. I love them to death. Bless them.
Excellent. Tim, you're brilliant. Nationwide Produce. If you're one of our international visitors, have a look at their website. Social media is brilliant, Tim, now, isn't it? You're one of those few companies that's really pushing that out.
Social media is brilliant. I'm just telling Charlotte that, social media manager.
Come on. Right, let's finish off with Charlotte. Well done, Charlotte. Well done, Tim. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. Cheers. Bye.